Hi, my name is Abdelamitova S.S. Topic of my presentation, my favorite film. One of my favorite ways to spend my free time is to watch movies. Among the range types of films such as comedies, romance, horror, most of all I like romantic dramas, comedies. But now I want to tell you about my favorite movies. It's called The Midnight Sun. American romantic drama directed by Scott Speer. Film plot: Katie Price has had melanosis since childhood. Therefore, I have to lead a nightlife and days spent in a room with darkened windows. She has only two close people, a friend, Morgan, and her father. Ever since she was a child, Katie had fallen in love with Charlie. The guy who walked past her house as a recluse. When Katie is 17 years old, she accidentally meets Charlie. They fall in love with each other. At first, Charlie doesn't know about her illness, but then when he found out, he didn't leave Katie. He wants to be with her, but she will die. Near such a tragic end. This movie has taught me to appreciate everything I have.
Hello, I'm Сейитбековна and my groupmates. My presentation about ancient China. One of the most ancient world civilization, China is the only country in the world where the continuity of the state and culture is preserved for 4,000 years. The Chinese first started to apply for writing a paper. Chinese masters were doing a good weapon, and the art of battle became an example for the other countries. The dragon was the culture symbol of the Chinese people. Glorified ancient China and unique monuments of architecture and the art. Individual views of the ancient Chinese art is considered to be theatrical skill. The Chinese in his theatrical production skills fully combined music and movements of the body, oriental, martial arts and religion. Chinese are very respectfully referred to their ancestors, the natural resources, and the subject of art. Practically every area in China is full of history and cultural value.
Islands varies very much. The north of Scotland is mountains and is called the Highlands, while the south, which has beautiful valleys and plains, is called the Lowlands. There are a lot of rivers in Great Britain.
Old Jerusalem. Given the city's central position in both Jewish nationalism and the Palestinian nationalism. The selectivity required to summarize some 5,000 years of inhabited history is often influenced by ideologies, bias, or background. Israelis or Jewish nationalists claim a right to the city based on Jewish indigeneity to the land, particularly their origins and in descent from the Israelites, for whom Jerusalem is their capital and their yearning for return. In contrast, Palestinian nationalists claim the right to their city based on modern Palestinian long-standing presence and realities gained from many different peoples who have settled or lived in the region over the centuries. Both sides claim.
After World Monuments Watch listed New Jerusalem on the 2000 watch, we funded a preliminary assessment of the site and master planning workshop coordinated by the Holy Archangels Foundation. They successfully undertook stakeholders, including the Russian Ministry of Culture. Based on recommendations that come out of the assessment and workshop, the Foundation proposes to complete a conservation master plan for the site and implement a series of priority interventions including stabilization and conservation of the bell tower, rotunda, and sepulchre. The New Jerusalem Monastery is a large state with a range of conservation problems. The development of a sustainable preservation strategy is dependent upon long-term private and public sector support.
Hello, my best teacher Сейитбековна and my group mates. How are you? I hope that you are all safe and well. Today, I'm gonna make a presentation. The theme is Method of Six Thinking Hats. Six Thinking Hats was written by Dr. Edward de Bono. De Bono's hats is a good decision-making technique and method for group discussions and individual thinking, combined with a parallel thinking process. This technique helps groups think more effectively. It means to organize thinking process in a detailed and cohesive manner. Blue hat process, red hat is feelings, yellow hat benefits, white hat facts, green hat creativity, black hat cautions. Yellow hat. This hat helps us to think positively. It's the optimistic viewpoint that helps us to see all the benefits of the decision and the value in it. White hat. White hat thinking advocates mapping the situation first and then choosing the route. This is process used rather than providing a conclusion and bringing in facts to support the conclusion. The green hat focus on the creativity, the possibilities, alternatives, and new ideas. It's an opportunity to express new concepts and new perceptions. Blue hat. Blue hat represents process control. It's the hat worn by people chairing meetings, for example, when facing difficulties because ideas are running dry. They may direct activity into green hat thinking. Red hat. Wearing the red hat, the thinker can say something like, "That's how I feel about." The red hat allows the thinker to explore the feelings of the other participants at the discussion, asking them what their opinion is through the red hat perspective, meaning from an emotional and affective point of view. Black hat, pessimist. This hat is now often used in reference to a bad person who always see the bad sides, especially a villain or criminal in a movie, novel, play, or in a real life. Thank you for your attention. My presentation is over. Goodbye.
Hello everyone, I am Gainazarova Nora, second year student. Today my theme is English customs and traditions. Take your time, don't stop, the video will be interesting for you. Don't stop, it's time to learning English. Are you ready? Every country and every nation has its own tradition and customs. We can't speak about England without speaking about them. Englishmen are proud of their tradition and carefully keep them up. Today we are going to talk about English traditions, which we may call English lifestyle. We are going to mention 10 traditions that describe English life and let us understand it better. Number 1. Queen. In Britain, the Queen is the head of state, but in fact that she doesn't rule the country as she has no power. Her power is very symbolic. Everything is done in Queen's name, but her power is not absolute. It is limited in many various ways. It is said that the Queen reigns but does not rule. She personally doesn't decide what actions the state will take. The Queen is a symbol of the country, its history and its traditions. She is very rich. She travels about the United Kingdom, meets different people and visits schools, hospitals and other special places. So do all the members of the royal family. Number 2. Politeness. The English are naturally polite, and they often say sorry, please, and thank you with a smiling face. And they always try to arrive on time. They are disciplined. You never hear loud talk in the streets. They don't hurry to take seats in buses and trains, but they take their seats in buses at bus stops. Number 3. English home. The English are a nation of stay-at-homes. There is no place like home is a famous English saying. The Englishman also say my house is my castle, because he doesn't wish his neighbors could see his doings. It's true that English people prefer a small house built for one family. Number 4. Pets. Britain is a nation of animal lovers. They have about 5 million dogs, almost as many cats, 3 million parrots and other cage birds, aquarium fish and 1 million exotic pets such as reptiles. In Britain, they have special dog shops selling food, clothes and other things for dogs. There are dog hairdressing salons and dog cemeteries. There are special animal hotels at the airports. The English people believe that they are the only nation on the earth that is really kind to its animals. Number 5. Fireplaces.
Englishmen are very fond of fireplaces. That's why many of them prefer the open fire to central heating. The fire is the focus of the English home. The fireplace is the natural center of interest in the room. In many houses you will still see fireplaces, sometimes with columns on each side and a shelf above it, on which there is often a clock or a mirror or photos. Number 6. Sports. Sports play an essential part in the life of Britain and it's a popular leisure activity. Rugby, golf, cricket, polo and horse racing are British national sports and they are played on village greens and its towns on Sundays. Cricket is often called the English national game. Cricket is a popular summer sport in Great Britain. There are many cricket clubs in the country. Number 7. Tea. The English are tea drinkers. They have it many times a day. Traditional English tea is tea with milk. 7 cups of it wake you up in the morning, 9 cups will put you to sleep at night. Some Englishmen have tea for breakfast, tea at lunch, tea time, tea after dinner, tea at tea time and tea with supper. Some English families have high tea or big tea and no supper. The Englishmen always drink tea out of cups, never out of glasses. Number 8. Pubs. Pubs are still a central part of British culture. Good conversation and good beer are 2 essential items provided by them. That's why people who are under 18 years old are not allowed there. Pubs can be found in every town or village. Social life for many people centered on the pub for many years. Pub meals have become very popular over the past 10 years and are generally cheap and often good. Pubs also provide entertainment, live music, singing, video and karaoke machines. Number 9. Gardens. English people love gardening. They like to talk about the best way of growing flowers, fruit or vegetables. They like to walk in their gardens and to talk after the plants. They usually have a small flower garden in front of their house. The English grow plants not only in gardens but in window boxes. They will make a garden everywhere. Number 10. Talking about weather. Talking about weather is a favorite topic for Englishmen. The weather in England is very changeable. A fine morning can change into a wet afternoon. And a nasty morning can change into a fine afternoon. And they often say, often countries have a climate. In England, we have weather. The English also say that they have 3 variants of weather: when it rains in the morning, when it's the afternoon, or when it's raining all day long. When 2 Englishmen meet, their fair words will be "Hi, how are you?" and their talking will be about the weather. English English customs and traditions. Thank you for attention. Goodbye, my dear friends.
Hi guys, my name is Сейитбековой S.S. My favorite city Moscow. Each person has his favorite city. Most often the city where the childhood of a person has spent past is called beloved because it is with childhood that the most dear to the heart memories are connected. Favorite city? The city does not have to be a capital. A city of a millionaire, he may be a little quiet. Cities like people, each has its own destiny, its own face, and its own charter. Moscow is the capital of Russia. I didn't live in Moscow. I come from time to time, but the trips were enough for my heart to become attached to the city. The city is very large and people of different nations are placed in it. In childhood, teachers often aren't tutors for using Moscow. Coming here, we have been to various beautiful places. I remember how we were at the circus in the winter. The hall was full of people, and we really liked the performance itself. I saved all these moments in picture. How I would not be, my soul still stretches to Moscow. I really love this city.
Hello, my dear teachers Rumakan Сейитбековна and my group mates. Today's my presentation is about the United Kingdom. We are going to travel United Kingdom. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is situated on the British Isles. The British Isles consist of two large islands, Great Britain and Ireland, and about 5,000 small islands. Their total area is over 244,000 square kilometers. The United Kingdom consists of four parts: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. England, Wales, and Scotland occupy the territory of Great Britain. Northern Ireland, situated in the northern part of Ireland. The population is over 55 million. About 80% of the population is urban. The capital of the country is London. The British Isles are separated from European continent by the North Sea and the English Channel. The western coast of Great Britain is washed by the Atlantic Ocean and the Irish Sea. The surface of the British Isles varies very much. The north of Scotland is mountainous and is called the Highlands, while the south, which has beautiful valleys and plains, is called the Lowlands. There are a lot of rivers in Great Britain.
Hello, Сейитбековна and my group mates. I am Bachilova Navruzai. I want to tell you about the traditional Chechen wedding party. This series of photographs shows a beautiful bride in a wedding dress and with her head covered at a 3-day celebration of the beginning of marriage. Despite the scale of the ceremony, the traditions of Chechen society don't allow the bride to join the other guests during the celebration. She must respectfully behave towards her new family, while her relatives shouldn't even appear at the wedding. The bride and her friends in her bedroom are waiting for the bridegroom's relatives to pick her up. Friends of the bride, dressed in traditional Chechen dresses, are convinced that she looks perfect. In Chechnya, girls who get married are usually around 17-18 years old, and the grooms who traditionally pay for the wedding a little over 20. The bride stands where she will remain until the end of the ceremony. All day she will be introduced to new relatives. A girl can sit only when she is allowed. Relatives of the future husband escorted the bride to the venue of the wedding ceremony. The groom must not approach the bride. The girl wept away tears during the ceremony. By tradition, no one from the bride's family can attend the wedding. At the wedding reception, guests ask the bride to bring them a glass of water. Before dancing begins, the groom's family gather together for a traditional wedding photograph. Everyone is dancing and singing, but the bride should stay away. Even during the dance, men and women are not allowed to come too close to each other. A motorcade of cars in which the groom and his relatives drive to the bride's house. On the third day of the celebration, the groom's relatives gather at his house for the ceremony of marriage. By tradition, the bride is allowed to hold the baby so that she will have many sons. She hugs the boy and gives him something. The driver of the car where the bride is sitting waves a gun at the window. Children catch money that they throw out the window. The bride with the relatives of the future husband goes to the restaurant. My presentation came to the end. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.